Hey everyone, Michael Crump here today. Today I want to talk about the PS3 SYSCON. So there is a couple of different folks that have been releasing information on how to do this. And while their videos are great, I decided I would make one that would be split into two parts. One would be hardware, which is this video, and then the next one would be software. So what is SYSCON, you may be thinking? So SYSCON allows you to run diagnostic tools on your PlayStation 3 in order to figure out what exactly is wrong with it. So it's going to be very helpful when you need to diagnose what's wrong with the PS3 so that you can fix it a bit later. Starting out with this video right here, this is a PlayStation 3 Slim that I've been disassembling, and once we get this opened on up, then we're going to take a look at the parts and the hardware that's required, as well as what you would need to do, and then I'm going to show you how to solder, or how I soldered my points to my chip. Okay, here is the base motherboard. You won't need any of the other parts except for the power supply. What you need to do is you need to plug this piece in because you are going to have to connect this to the motherboard. Feels good and tight. The other thing you're going to want to do is to make sure that this other wire is connected. You'll leave this for the most part to the side. And another thing is that while that power supply that I just showed you did not have a on-off button, if you have an older PlayStation 3 fat model, you can actually get a switch where if you wanted to turn the power on or off, you could do so. Okay, so this is a USB TTL 3.3, and I've listed one of the model numbers up there above. The reason that I'm showing you this is that this is what you're going to need in order to connect your PlayStation 3 up to your computer in order to read those diagnostic codes. I actually bought a 4-pack here. This 4-pack came off of Amazon, and what you'll do is you're just going to simply break these apart. Keep in mind that if you buy several of these, what's kind of interesting is that you could use these in your PlayStation 4 as well, as long as that PlayStation 4 is moddable and hackable. And also, it may be a good practice just to go ahead and to leave this inside of the console for future diagnostics. So there's a couple of different places on the motherboard where you can mount this and you can get a connection to it once it's all back inside of a case. So just a heads up on that. The cables that I was using to attach my chip to the motherboard, these were just some cables that I had just kind of lying out there. The main reason that I decided just to use these was that I wasn't looking for a permanent fix. So the one thing that you're going to need to do right off of the bat is that there is this little jumper cable. And you can see that right now it's listed on the 5 volt. We're going to change that, and we're going to move that jumper over 1. And so you'll see it's on the furthest right 2 pins. And that's going to give us 3.3. You definitely don't want to go into this with a 5 volt because if you do, then it can potentially fry your system. So yeah, just move it over 1 and you'll be good to go as far as the jumper goes. Okay, so I am going to connect up 3 wires here. The first one that I'm going to connect up is the ground. So if you have cables, it's just like this. They're very easy to attach. All you'll need to do is to put this one at the furthest pin on the right side. So that'll be your ground. And then there's 2 more wires that you're going to need to hook up. One is for RX and the other one is for TX. So let's put one on the RX and TX, and those two will look something like this. And I'm going to try to zoom in a bit where possibly you can see what those might go to, or exactly how to, and also exactly how to connect those. And that USB port is obviously going to go to a cable into your computer. So this is one of the cables that I had. Actually, I think I found this from one of my older GoPro systems. All you need is just a cable that you can plug directly into this, which the other end, which is USB, will go into one of your open USB slots on your computer. Great. Okay, so for this board that I've got, which is a 2500, there's going to be 3 of these pins. And if you look at the way that the pins are aligned here, there is an RX listed there, and the TX is the one that is listed right beside of it. You may not be able to see that one too well, but just trust me, that's what it is like. There you go. Maybe you can see it a little bit better there. Okay, so we're going to solder these onto these points. These points are actually pretty big in reality. So I'm going to solder these on there, and it's going to look something like this right here. So there's going to be an RX up at the top, and then there's going to be a TX. And then the last one, we're just going to mount to any available ground connection. So for my soldering gun, it came with a whole bunch of different tips. You can use whatever you feel is necessary. I believe in this instance, the tip that I already had on there, I just went ahead and accepted. This is what my soldering gun looks like. I think I paid around $20 for it. I've used it to mod quite a bit of stuff. So it still has some residue left over. What you'd probably want to do is to, get a good sponge and clean that up a little bit better than what I did, in order for the solder to be a little bit easier to put on the board. Okay, and there is the standard solder that I use, and there's just a little amount that it also came with it that I can use in case that gun is hot. And that gun will be extremely, extremely hot. So yes, I've touched it on accident before and a couple of different things. You're going to make sure that that is not anywhere or any way, shape, and form next to any paper or anything like that it can catch on fire. Here's a close-up of my motherboard, and here's where those pins are laid out a little bit easier, hopefully, to read. Is that there is an RX, a TX, and then what I kind of called my ground. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a little bit of flux on there. And yes, I have a condition that does not allow my hands to stay steady. So in the most part, I'm usually able to get the job done. It would be wonderful if my hands did not shake. I believe I could be a lot more proficient with doing this. But hey, if there's a will, there's a way, right? Okay, those are probably on good enough, at least for the moment here. Now, this one, I just decided to attach this to one of the ports that was connected. This is for like the hard disk drive. It's just these two bigger pins that you see there. So I just picked one of them and I put this in, and I believe maybe I got this one a little bit better. Now keep in mind, I definitely was not going to keep this in there for the long term. These were all going to be removed and connected. Obviously, if you want something for a bit long term, then you probably wouldn't use the pins that I got, but rather a regular cable. So that's going to be it for the hardware part. Come back soon and we'll look at the software side of things and how I got this to work with my software and was able to diagnose what was wrong with this PlayStation 3. Until the next video, thank you for taking time to watch, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.